Hello guys, my name is Florian Meindl. We're here in my studio in Berlin. Okay, let's have a look into my remix I did for Hot Chip for the track I Feel Better. The original is pretty song-based with a lot of melodies, with a good musical structure. And I wanted to transport it into the club, into a clubby rhythmic format, which I would love to play into my DJ sets. I just decided to use a vocal loop, which I built here, because the synthesizers, it just sounded too normal kind of thing. I wanted to transport it to another level, or put it into another context. Okay, I'll show you the original loop I built first, without the vocals and without any instruments, just the beat and the bass. Here are strings, some strings. And this is the original vocal loop I built. There's an effect on it. A space echo from Roland, from the UAD card, which is a little bit in the distortion level already. And it would be just too much for the beat. It would not be rhythmically enough, so I decided to put a gate after it, which is triggered by these sounds here, which are in the same swing like the loop. So from here it will get rhythmically. In the second break, which is not the main break yet, it will get really intense and loud. So it's really into distortion, like here. So this is the intensity of the space delay. And I also automated the time, which is here, which will get shorter. So that means you have the feeling that it goes higher and higher in frequency. That's this part here. And here it's pretty high already. Yeah, here it's pretty high already. And here the beat drops in again. And it gets rhythmically again. So the noise is getting rhythmically as well. that's kind of the only melody element I took from the original.
Did you chop those around as well?
Yes, a little bit. I could have used more because they have great synthesizers, but just the vocal line and the strings were enough, so I left it like this. I filtered them in. You can see the automation here. Let's go to the filter I used. It's actually an equalizer. The UAD Cambridge.
Which parameter are you adjusting to bring that out?
This one. It's with a very high cutoff. Yeah, so it's coming in slowly. There are other effects on it as well, like a Cooper time cube and some more delay. So inside the break, the strings kind of get more intense as well, which is just the feedback of the Cooper time cube and the level of the delay. Let's hear it again. It's pretty much delay, and here he gets dry again. In the main break, which is here, everything comes a little bit more intense, and some vocals which I didn't use in the loop come in here. That's an effect from Guitar Rig, I think, which I bounced in the early version, which makes a special character. It's kind of like a vocoder, so it's perfect to introduce vocals like this. This vocal gets filtered in as well. With this filter. Okay, the break ends here. The poor, dry vocals. So before it's introduced with the ghosty sounding thing, and the other one is filtered in. And just here in the main part, it's dry and loud. And the loop in the background gets rhythmic again with the sidechain gate. I played one of the main melodies with contact as well. So I've got the MIDI file. Yeah, but it doesn't work now because couldn't find the sample anymore. So it's just a filtered loop, which I processed with an equalizer as well.
Which equalizer is that? Is that
Uh,
UAD?
That's a Neve 1081 from UD as well. I almost just use UD plugins because I think they sound great and they take away CPU power, which is really good. Lab. Another loop.
There's quite an interesting tail on that kick drum.
That's a loop from my Riemann collections. Yeah, I tend to layer loads of loops, which I have built in other sessions, so that I can be really fast when it comes to be creative. Because when I've got an idea, I don't want to spend time on tweaking a kick drum or building new claps, you know. So I use this loop player from Cubase, and you could just click any loop and it would play it in the same tempo. That's a high kick, which gives it a little bit more character. I used to put in more mids with this equalizer because it distorts a little bit and it sounds really organic and warm.
Which
That's a
equalizer is that?
Helios 61.
Right.
Yeah, another kick layer. That's the sub kick, which is really deep.
How's that? Oh, again, it's just an audio sample.
Yes, with a fade here. So it really needs the right length to have the best groove. Another kick layer. It's you have to be really careful when layering kicks because of the sub frequencies. So I tend to divide them into the sub, and the more punchy one. Everything goes to the beat group, how I called it here. And inside the beat group, I've got a filter, so that I can filter the beat in the break, so that it keeps all the elements, but can cut out the low frequencies from the kick. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sometimes I've got a compressor in here as well, but in this case I just use the drum group to filter it. Okay, let's have a look on my latest remix. It's for an English band called the Detachments, and the track is called Holiday Romance. Let's just have a look along the timeline. Yeah, it starts with a pretty minimalistic beat, just the two-layered kick drum, one a bit deeper, one a bit more punchy, and there's a noise below, which just fills the space between the kick drums, and the original is pretty much 80s influenced, so I wanted to stick to that feeling with like warm noises inside. There's also a sidechain compressor on the noise, as you can see here. So the kick drum is routed into here, and it ducks down the signal each time the kick drops in. That gives the illusion of a really compressed and fat beat, even though it's actually pretty dynamic. And all the elements are introduced. In this case, it's a part of the original riff, processed with Native Instruments guitar rig, and here is the same sound with reverb and reversed. Here a hi-hat from my loops collection, from the Riemann collection. Here comes in a pad from the original. And here you can see a filter curve, which is from a filter which I have on the master channel. You see, it filters the whole signal. It's there for cutting out the bass and giving more impact to when it drops in again. That's a little trick I like, because sometimes you have got a few low frequencies here and there, and during the break it's really good if the subwoofers are quiet and give everything when it drops back. Here these reverses again, and this synth. That's from the vocal. I just cut the audio. It's basically there to build tension, because here one of the main vocals starts. There's an effect on the vocal. Guitar rig. I tend to activate the right channel to have a stereo signal, and build my own effect chains. Even with automation, so there are like LFOs inside here, or reverbs which can be automated. So let's have a listen to the dry signal.
We should not be friends.
Okay, that's a dry signal now.
Made my mind up. We should not be friends.
And now with effects.
Made my mind up. We should not be friends.
Here the beat drops in again. That's a noise coming from the virus, which is bounced here.
We should not be friends. But then she sent me the coconut text. So feeling sorry, I let her back in again.
These are also effects from the guitar rig, which I bounced here. So I just made a new project and played around with guitar rig and exported like 10 versions, imported it here and played around with the audio. And here the bass line drops in, which is a heavy sub-bass kind of thing. It consists of 3 layers. One from the original, it's cut from the audio. And 2 from Trillion. Trillion is my favorite bass sampler. Yeah, it has got all the analog classics and really nice things, and it always sounds perfect because they recorded it with really good gear. Yeah, so that's my first choice for sub basses. And let's go straight to the main break. Here is the riff in many variations. I also made them with Guitar Rig. So I exported many versions and re-imported. So this. So this is another one. This is another one again. And this will sound different again. That's a whole different one again. But the notes are always the same. This is from the Guitar Rig as well, which I exported in the session before. There's a piano from the original. It's coming in here somewhere. It's bounced together with the virus, but I can show you the project where I did it. Okay, so let's go to the other project. Okay, so we're in the other project now, and this is the original piano. And I just muted it by hand, like this. It sounds really rough, but I thought it just fits because of the whole context of the track. In some, it sounds like this. So it works with all these little sounds and noises. Okay, we're in the other project where I built the riff. So this is the original riff. It sounds like this. And yeah, I put Guitar Rig on it, activated the right channel, and yeah, okay, let's choose this preset. Take me to your leader, and it sounds like this now. And I made 10 different versions. Let's just, I didn't save all these versions unfortunately, but let's just flick through the presets. Let's have a listen how this sounds. So you could go to the components, choose for instance an LFO, modulation, modifier, LFO, put it in here and say like, okay, this LFO should modulate the rate here. So you see, it starts moving. Yeah, now it's moving like faster. Let's have a look how this sounds. Or you could automate this as well. So you can build creatively really nice custom effects. And yeah, that's how I built the different riffs. And in the other project, I just cut the audio together to a new piece. A short time ago, I released a special synth package with Riemann. It contains audio stems from synths I did. They're all made with the Virus TI desktop, and we're now into a project. So you can see the MIDI notes here. And here's a little change. It's just one octave higher and higher again. Let's see how it sounds. I put two effects on it. The Fatso from UOD, which gives just a little bit of compression and tape saturation. And the Meindl equalizer. And I used a little trick here. If you process the left and the right side with different parameters, it will give a nice stereo effect because the stereo sides are processed differently, so it will add a little bit of stereo kind of thing. And I used just two automations here. Cutoff and another one. I'm gonna show it to you in a second. And there are effects on it, like a tape delay, which is here, and yeah, so you could kind of create a peak here and then go up one octave with the second oscillator. So you can create really nice pitch effects with the second oscillator. Okay, let's have a quick look on the loops I did within one of the Riemann collections. Many loops are built with Maschine, with their own library, which comes with it, and with my library, so I tend to mix it. And I've got 3 FX on the master, which is the first one in the chain is the Fatso, which is a tape saturation. Yeah, it compresses a little bit and makes it a little bit warmer and a little bit distorted. Then a compressor with a really slow attack time, to let the kick through and the transients and a short release time. And a limiter. It's actually a compressor, but you can set it to limit, and it's not a brick wall limit that doesn't limit everything. It's just a compressor with a very high compression ratio. Okay, let's have a listen to the loop. Let me quickly solo the elements. Yeah, it's a kick drum. And instead of showing you how I did it, let's just do a new one. I'll go to Maschine. New project. Okay. The kick drum should be really tight on the spot, so I choose the step sequencer and choose a kick drum. I've imported my own kick drums as well here, so I can choose between the factory ones and my own ones. Let's just go for one of my kick drums. Let's just have a listen. Okay, that one is too deep and too long. Well, but that doesn't matter. We could make it shorter. So I'll set an attack, decay, sustain, release curve to it and make it shorter. Okay. Yeah, so that's, let's say that's our sub kick drum. So I'll take away the attack. And let's add a more punchy kick drum with more transients. So I go to step sequencer, layer that on top, and choose another kick drum. Okay, that's a bit too punchy probably. Okay, I'll shorten that as well. Okay. I changed the pitch by 2 halftones to make it more fit together. I think it's too loud as well, so let's reduce the volume. Okay. Let's add a tom or anything in the deep mid field, or maybe a kick drum which is pitched up. There's one which I sampled from the Tribe. Okay, that's too deep. Well, it's too. Let's make it short a little bit. make the patch double-sized, because yeah, we've got 2 bars, and let's make more variations in the second bar. Just hit record and went along. And yeah, it's not 100% on time, but I still want to keep the human feel, you know. So I go to shift, quantize 50%. That's a really nice feature which I use a lot. So it will not put it directly on the 16th, it would just drag it 50% towards that point, which is really nice. Yeah. We could even add a swing to the whole machine. But let's keep it like this. And yeah, it's a bit too dry, this tom. So let's put an effect on it. Maybe a beat delay would fit. Let's just try. Yeah, that just gives it more organic feeling, I think. Let's search for a clap here, probably. Yeah, let's go into Transistor Punch. That's an expansion pack from Native Instruments. Quantize it again with 50%. Yeah, and this one is too loud, I think, so I'll reduce it in volume. And I think it's too dry as well, so let's put some reverb on it. I'll try another effect, the frequency shifter. That's nice, but we should make it shorter probably. Yeah. And let's try a reverb on top of this. Yeah. Let's search for hi-hat probably. quantize it a little bit. Yeah. Maybe a ride on top. Put a filter in it because it has way too much low end. High pass filter. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, here we go, a rough techno beat. Let's have a listen to the single elements again. Yeah, kick drum 1, kick drum 2, the tom-like thing, the clap with the effects, the hi-hat, the ride, and yeah, let's say the tom. done. Okay, we're in a plain room here in my studio complex in Berlin, and as you can hear, it sounds really ugly. A lot of reverb. Like, let me clap. You know, that's not what we are aiming for. And yeah, let's go into the dry room in my studio room now, and let's have a listen there. Okay, welcome to my studio, and yeah, as you can hear, there's no reverb. The only reverb is coming from here because the door is not closed now. Yeah, these two elements are from a company from Berlin, and it's filled with a natural material. It's called flux. It's yeah, the same like you use for buildings, but yeah, it's organic, and that's for the mid frequencies. So you can see the difference in thickness. So that's like 20 centimeters, and that's just 10. So it covers anything from like here. I don't know exactly, but I think 200 hertz to up to 20,000 and higher. And the ceiling, I've built that out of wood, and there is the same material on top, put into pillows, and normal acoustic foam here. That's for high, mid, and also for bass frequencies. But for the bass, I've mainly got these bass traps. Yeah, they are supposed to be placed exactly in the corner, but yeah, it's okay like this. I put some pillows with this flux material inside the corner as well, so the bass is really dry, because we want to have short reverb time all over the whole frequency spectrum. So not just the heights. It's really easy to get rid of heights, you know, you just have to cover everything with carpet, and you've got a dry room if you clap. But if you get deeper frequencies like bass, you need a lot of material. So everything needs to be covered, and here as well. Otherwise, you're not able to judge how long a kick drum should be, and it will just sound not as it should be. I'm monitoring with these Channel X speakers. I've got them since 10 years now, in combination with a subwoofer. For surround, I use these Yamaha speakers. They're different from them, but it's okay. I didn't want to buy 5 of these, so yeah, I just mix them. I control them with this monitor controller, so I can switch on and off all the speakers. Here I've got the big ones. These are my midfield monitors. They're called Bullfrog from Maschine Audio. It's actually high-end speakers, but I use them as studio monitors because they sound great and they're really loud. They're like in the club. Yeah, my probably most impressive acoustic element is my diffuser. I learned how to construct that in school in London when I was studying music technology. Yeah, I calculated it with the size I had, like the desk. It cannot be bigger because then wouldn't be able to move anymore. So I calculated it. I went to a shop and let all the parts cut. It's 385 cuts. They were not really happy with me, but yeah. And then I glued it together with my girlfriend, which was a lot of work, like 3 days, including painting it, because everything needs to be really accurate. And yeah, that's it. And the walls are covered with normal carpet to just take away the high frequency reverb. Yeah, that's it.